the spreadsheet.
Okay, cool. Uh,
The red is a little
uh,
aggressive. There was not really a
like
softer red.
tuned down. Ooh,
Yeah, a bit aggressive, right? All right, we're gonna get. Oh,
this.
we are streaming.
Yeah, it's like in your face that we were wrong. There's got to be a better red.
All right, you find
Yeah,
it. You
there we
find
go.
a gentler red. I was just being.
I got a softer
All right. We sadly don't have a thumbnail. Oh, I gotta get on the
red. Wait, what?
YouTube so I can see the comments. What's going on? What's
Not
going
yet.
on?
What happened?
That they're not toxic to dogs, they may have ingredients that are toxic to dogs that I gave it to.
You just give her one chickpea. That should be fine.
Yeah, you said no.
uh, get a
Huh?
Q. That's get a QB ad too. I thought your Browns thing said get a QB or two. I was like, well, they got one. I think Dak did get restructured.
Okay. Orange means orange is like we said draft, but they did something in free agency that could count as it.
Hmm. Falcons did that. Did the Panthers sign an edge guy?
They signed a D tackle, but I don't think an edge guy.
Hmm. Oh yeah, they signed that guy. I forget what his name is. Someone I've never heard of.
That happened. There's so many details. If you actually, we'll wait. All right, I posted. Um, let's see, do we have any? Why I should go live? I mean, I already am live.
Hackers have been radio silent.
Hackers have been what?
Silent, right?
Yeah, they. I was gonna say they haven't done anything. Oh, D Hop to the Ravens just happened. Bang! Way to start the show.
Huh.
All right, let's rock. I wish I could make this YouTube white. That sounds wrong, but white background so it could blur out my face brighter.
Hmm.
But that's okay. I'm gonna be looking at this free agency thing most of the time. And actually, we'll
Did
see.
the Jags sign?
They signed. They didn't really sign like not anyone that I saw that was impactful enough as Alex Cappa would have been.
Okay.
I'm giving my I gave us a leash, not a thick one, not a long one, but I gave us a leash to have it.
Okay.
Actually, let's see if this
The
helps.
Texans traded away a guard. Although Mekhi Becton's still a free agent. Dang.
Yeah, still possible. Yep,
Broncos
yep, yep,
did
yep.
not sign
Oh,
off.
look at that! Look at that! I'm like in the sun right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, isn't that great? All right,
Very bright.
now it doesn't. Now it all fades away. Oh well, happens every time. We're gonna get started. Let's start with our teams. I mean, we did a good
Okay.
amount. I did a lot more than you did,
Yes.
but what did the Commanders do? Besides, actually, I know what they did. Not much.
Yeah. You wanted to say Hargrave, but different 49er.
All right, let's just get started with that, and then we'll do the rest. How it falls out. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We've done this before. Now that we have it, now that we've had a structure, we can't now just like pretend that we've never done no structure
Yes, right.
before. um. All right, let's rock and roll. All right, we're gonna get started
Oh,
in
dang.
3, 2. Any breaking? Was that breaking news or?
Not of significance.
Okay, we're gonna get started in 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
Doing great. The NFL free agency has started. The free agency frenzy is going on, and I guess before we get into all the details of everything, the day was weird. You know, normally the deals come out immediately. Twitter was down right before. We didn't know if Twitter was going to be active for the start of free agency. It turns out that that's really important for the speed of communication between insiders
Yes.
because Schefter, I was watching. I had NFL Network, I had ESPN, and I had these two guys on YouTube, uh, talking about all the free agency stuff going on. And so I was locked in, just trying to find any other way because I was texting you, Chris, and I had like it was 11:50 something. And I remember I texted you something like, it's almost like a good like in my mind I was like, it's almost a good thing that Twitter's down. Like I don't have to see this all instantly. And then I get home from the gym and I turn on three different things to make sure I get it as quick as possible. I refresh everything I could possibly refresh. Um, so it was still fun.
The only online
It was
resource was the ESPN
yeah,
free
the
agent
tracker.
tracker, which I actually
Yes.
have pulled up now. But like that was the only thing that I could find that was up to date, kind
It
of
took
up to
us
date. Because Schefter was still beating them live, obviously, because as he found stuff out, he would say it, and then it would go to the ESPN tracker.
it was like
But
a
I didn't like the talking on. I realize that now. Like
oh
I don't
yeah.
want to hear about any of the moves. I want to see them, and then I want to choose the ones that I want to hear more about. And
Yeah.
it was a shocking revelation into how I consume media.
The
Like I don't care about anything that they're talking about. I just need
never.
move. I need
Yep. Just
I need
that's all I
deals.
wanted was just deal after deal after deal, and it took us back. I think it took us back a couple years, like to see what it was like before Twitter. We never experienced any free agency really before Twitter. Or I mean, we were kids, but
Oh yeah.
nothing of this stake. And so it was kind of fun, but you're right. It got stale immediately. They started talking like it was 12 o'clock, and all I wanted to hear was, "We have nothing yet. Like, just hold your horses. We have nothing yet." That's all I wanted to hear
Yeah.
for 6 minutes because the first deal wasn't until 12 like 06, and they're just talking about Aaron Rodgers. They're talking about the DK
I
Metcalf
know.
trade. They're talking about shit that happened yesterday, and I'm like, we know what happened yesterday. I want to know what's going to happen now, like right now. And so you're right. There was definitely a lot of just yammering that nobody needed to hear. But we eventually got all the deals out. Twitter eventually got fixed. And we had an exciting day. We're gonna start off. We're selfish. We're gonna start off with our teams, and then we're gonna roll down and just kind of go through everything and winners, losers, everything. But let's get started, Chris, and I'll let you get started with the Commanders because I
Thanks.
think I think you had the most impactful move out of the two teams, even though the Pats spent a boatload of money.
Yeah, I'll get that one out of the way first. I guess the trade for Laramie Tunsil is a pretty big deal. I think that's the biggest trade that they've made since probably the Alex Smith trade. Um, so you give up a bunch of picks, but no first rounders, and two of the picks you give up are next year. One is the seventh. So the compensation, while significant, is not what he went for the first time around, which was two firsts and a player or more picks. I
It
forget
was
what it was, but it
everything.
was
Couple seconds,
outrageous.
yeah. It was the Dolphins'
Uh,
whole franchise.
yes. So obviously that's a huge,
Or the
huge
Texans.
move. He upgraded the line. Like you now get to shift Brandon Coleman to either right tackle or kick him inside, where I think he's been projected for the most part by NFL people. So all of a sudden, with this move, you've gone from a probably bottom third tackle, and Coleman had a nice year for a third round pick. So no disrespect to him at all, but you go from probably a bottom half of the league tackle to a top five left tackle, and you upgraded guard because now that's where Coleman can slot in. So I'm fully healthy, and I say that because Sam Cosmi, the right guard, is going to miss sometime. I don't know how much, but
He'll
he
miss some
tore his
time. Yeah,
ACL, the Lions. So hopefully for the stretch run, he'll be back. And when fully healthy, this just became a top 10 offensive line in football. So you get Tunsil for 2 more years, I think, and they're going to extend him. They're not going to give up that many picks and not extend him. I feel like the best tackles can play until they're 36, 37. So I'm assuming that they made this move thinking they're going to get 5, 6 years out of Tunsil.
he's an old 30. He's been in the league for a while. We've seen his face for a
He has
while
been in
ever
the league
since
for
the
a while.
draft. He's been a great left tackle for a while. That's why he seems so old, because we've been talking about him ever since his rookie year and his the reason why he fell in the draft.
Yes.
Um, but it's you're right. So I don't know why I said but there because it's all in the same point. It's a great deal. You give up a second next year, you give up a third this year, you get back a fourth this year. So
Yeah.
they move up in the draft. You have to give up a next year pick. That's a next year problem. Hopefully that's a 30, 31, 32 number in the second round. So that's
So
what you guys are hoping for. So you're basically giving up, you're hoping for giving up another third round pick, basically. Um, and it's a win now move. It's a win now team. They everything that we've talked about during the playoffs, all this belief in Jaden Daniels, this is just piling onto it. It's just adding belief onto him, saying that you are the guy. We have everything in place right now. We can build and spend on this left tackle. And it's a really puzzling move for the Texans. It's strange why they'd want to get
very
rid of him. That's the only thing that, like, if you're a Texans fan, it's like, oh, we must have got like wanted to get rid of him for some reason. And that's
yeah.
really the only excuse for this trade.
It to me, from what I've seen, it seems like it was locker room stuff that like there were a Houston building that didn't like his work ethic, or he wasn't the leader that they wanted him to be. I don't really care about any of that, to be honest. If he's going to be a top 10 left tackle in football, I don't care what his work ethic looks like. I don't care if he doesn't say a word in the locker room. So yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. But that was like, at first I was like, what's going on? Like, why? What's wrong with him? Why are they moving on from him? Because this is a team that we talked about in our offseason preview, that one of the biggest scapegoats for their shortcomings last year and CJ Stroud's shortcomings last year was the offensive line. And you trade away the only
Two
piece of that
players.
offensive line that was a cornerstone.
And then another guard who wasn't very good, but
Yeah, I don't think they liked him yet.
no, he
We'll
wasn't
be good
very
on the
good.
Eagles now.
But it's another body that it's like, yeah, he'll be great on the Eagles. It's just
Right, yeah.
like
Why are we sending away assets at our weakest spot on offense?
yeah, it's
So yeah,
it's
that
a
was the only
puzzling move.
like red flag for me was, is there something wrong with him?
Mhm.
But hopefully we look back in 3 years and we say that this was a no-brainer home run trade.
Yeah, and it's
I
almost
feel
like
like when you trade
hopefully
for superstars, it generally is.
yeah, and I mean, you want good players on your team. And
Yeah.
he gets the contract that he gets the trade value that he gets because he's a good player. It's almost I hope this works out in the way where it's like a reverse Trent Williams deal. Where it's like Trent Williams was like one of the
Yeah.
final pieces to the San Francisco going to the Super Bowl twice. He was an anchor to that offensive line, and he was an anchor for the offensive line for the Redskins at the time, uh, for many years. So now you get a guy who's been an anchor on a different team for many years. They haven't been winning. Every team that he's been at, he hasn't been winning. Now let's get him to another Adam Peters team. That he might have been even a part of that first deal for Trent Williams, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
And so he knows what he's doing, and I think this is a perfect move for the Commanders. I'm
Yeah, and
sure you're giddy.
th-
I'd be
it
giddy.
just doesn't
I
happen
didn't know
that
Larry Tunsil.
often.
Yeah, I didn't know he was available. Like I would have taken Larry Tunsil for the same package. I would have taken it for the same package.
That was the one thing that I've really enjoyed about free agency, honestly, the last 2 years as a Commanders fan, is none of the moves are things that you predicted to happen.
Mhm.
And I think that is a positive sign that there is nothing getting out of that front office, and that they are not putting themselves in spots where they're losing leverage because they're leaking what they want to do. um, the Debo thing is the only thing that I can think of that, like right from the start, as soon as he requested a trade, it seemed like he was coming here. I think that's just because of the connection with Peters. Everything else, like all the deals they made last year, it was like all these guys that some of them you hadn't even heard of. Others you're like, oh, that's an interesting. Like that when they brought Wagner in, they brought Luvu in, and like they had so many holes, obviously, so there wasn't necessarily a need that you were expecting them to address. Whereas this year, like they were linked to every single left tackle that presumably was available, and then they go get a guy who wasn't available until yesterday.
Yeah, it's an incredible deal, and it's funny they did the same thing with their only free agent signed is Javon Kinlaw so
Nice.
far.
Oh no, they signed a safety today.
Okay, that's for some reason not
Uh,
updated here on Yahoo. So that stinks.
his name's escaping me. It's a very basic name from the Saints. Give me 1 second.
All right,
Will
while you're looking,
Harris.
okay, Will Harris. Okay, yeah, I know who that
Heard of
is.
him?
Yep, I've heard of him.
Okay.
Yeah. The Javon Kinlaw signing, a lot of money, Gamecock.
Gamecock,
Drafted
yes.
drafted
Big,
by Adam
strong.
Peters in the first round. Same year that I'm pretty sure they drafted Deebo Samuel. So the Gamecock connection, Adam Peters connection is somehow a pipeline.
Yes. He loves
Um,
Adam Peters loves Cox.
yeah, let's run it up. He must have some Beamer connection. Actually, that was both those guys are before Beamer, so that doesn't even matter. But I mean, I guess you need some D tackle help. You didn't waste $20 million a year on not at Payne Allen. Sorry, I get those two
Allen.
confused.
They are
Um,
wasting $20 million a year on
now on Kinlaw.
actually 26, but no. Yeah, so the Kinlaw thing is weird. That hit like 20 minutes into free agency, and I was like, I was doing work with just the ESPN in the background, and I heard Javon Kinlaw to Washington. I was like, what? Why are we signing a D tackle? And then I saw the terms of it, and I was like, is he good? Because with D tackles, like you don't really know if they're not on your team
Yeah.
unless they're like a force. You
It's only
kind of have to
15
rely on
million a
someone
year
to tell
though.
you if they're good. Uh, and everything immediately is just like, this is outrageous. How much did they pay for him? This is ridiculous. I was like, all right, well, I'm super excited about that. But the D tackle market has been
It's what it is this
super,
year.
super inflated.
Yeah.
And like we'll get to your guy, Milton Williams, who was a third D tackle on the Eagles and got 26 million a year. Which is crazy. The Panthers signed a guy who I hadn't heard of to the same deal that Kinlaw got. But the other thing that people don't understand is these guys are looking for dudes who they
Fit their
know
system.
and who fit their scheme.
Yeah.
And I did read something about how when Dan Quinn was in Seattle, he liked to have they call it an elephant end,
Mm-hmm.
that on rundowns the guy on the edge is just like a mammoth human being
Yeah.
to try to direct the running back inside right into Payne and Johnny Newton. So maybe that's the fit there.
It's not a great run defender
There's
though. That
that.
is the issue.
Well, but he was playing nose tackle,
I agree.
and I don't think
And he
they're
was
not
on
going to use
yeah.
him as a nose tackle. This is all information that I read yesterday. This is
Yeah.
not like
Oh, I
disclaimer.
know.
But yes, trying to sell myself on it. No, he graded horrendously as a run defender last year. I think he's like the bottom 10 of defensive tackles.
But you look at
But
the
so
guys that he
there's that
signed
aspect
last
of it.
year, and it's like we all thought the same stuff of the guys last year, and they all produced
Yeah.
well in this Dan Quinn system.
Yeah. So there's that. Like that's a big deal. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on positions like D tackle that I just like when I watch, I can't really tell, to be honest. I'm not looking at who's like plugging gaps and stuff like that. The game is too quick for me and I don't know enough about it. So I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt there. The money thing, 30 is guaranteed, which is a lot, but it's pretty much all in the first 2 years. So in 2 years, like if this doesn't work out at all, they can just get rid of him.
Also,
And that's when they're really going to be tight on cap space because that's when they're going to have to start thinking about extending Jade. So it's not like they're like handcuffing themselves here.
I 100% agree, and that's really all that matters. And I was just about to say, I was gonna interrupt you and just say, and who cares? It's like that's what I kind of think. Like after all the Pats deals, it's like, oh, this guy, he's bad at this, he's bad at this. He's gonna start or he's gonna play for the team, and everyone spends this money. The cap space and free agency is hog wild, and
Yes.
you got to. I mean, people I don't know if you got to spend it. I don't really know. We need a cap guy still, but people spend it every year, and as long as it's not something that will for will ruin a future contract, then it doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't get in the way of
Exactly.
a future contract, who
Yep.
cares?
Which there's almost no way that it will.
And what we learned from the Saints, who are still making moves somehow, who
They
gives a
restructured like
crap?
3 guys today.
Who cares? Like they'll if someone will figure it out on the team, and if Kinlaw sucks, as you said, you pay him for 2 years and you get rid of him,
Yeah.
and some other team will sign him for probably 15 million.
But so yeah, like at the end of the day, is it an overpay? I think it's an overpay. Uh, is it the worst move in the world? We couldn't possibly know.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Like he would have to not play a game for it to be that bad. Like, worst case scenario, you've got this money on the books, and you're not getting production out of it.
and it's always tradable, right? Someone will find a way to like if worst
Maybe
case
I don't
scenario.
know. They also the other interesting thing is that Payne's contract next year is when they can get out of it. So if they're done with Payne, which I don't know if they are or aren't, and they see Kinlaw as his replacement, that's kind of where my mind went first. Is they're ready to move on from Payne, like they're sick of his cap hit. Um, so they'll just do the same thing that they did with Allen this year, and then all of a sudden you were spending almost $50 million on D tackles. Now you're spending 15 plus Johnny Newton's like 30-year rookie salary. So I don't know. We'll see. I believe they have a plan in place, which is
Yeah,
the
you just
first time
gotta
I can say
trust. I
that in a
mean,
while.
after last year, I think you gotta trust all these defensive guys that they're gonna pick up.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the Pats. We actually spent a good amount of time on the Commanders there.
This
The
might be a long
Pats.
one.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good long one. The Pats made a lot of moves. They made. I like pretty much all of them. I don't see a downside to any of them. Milton Williams is a ton of money. He's the highest paid Patriot of all time. Making
Like,
he's making $1 more million a year than Tom Brady ever made on the Pats.
hmm,
Which just tells you how the defensive tackle market is. It's basically it's a mini
yes,
quarterback market right now. Um, he
it's a
was the
bubble.
best. Yeah, it is a bubble, and he was the best
Exactly.
guy on the board. Um, so I'll take it. He's going to start for us. Um, we got off of Godshaw. He was a defensive tackle for us that we traded to the Saints because somehow they took his money. Um, and so now we're replacing him with Milton Williams. It should be an upgrade. He should start for us. Uh, Harold Landry should start for us. Robert Spillane.
Vrabel
He actually,
ties
yep, Vrabel ties
Landry.
for Landry and Spillane. Spillane was an undrafted rookie signed by the Titans and Vrabel.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Um, Morgan Moses. I mean, pancakes, baby. He's been on the Commanders. He's been on the Ravens. Now he's the Jets. Now he's on the Pats. I
I
mean,
when you told me that, I think my words to you were like, "That guy's a pro."
yeah, he's
He's
just a
just he's
pro.
been around. He's
Yep,
on the field. He's reliable. Like those are exactly the type of guys you want blocking for your second year quarterback.
exactly. And we got him for 8 million a year. That's a pretty great contract for a left or right tackle. Matt Collins is probably my least favorite signing. I just think he's a waste of space. No offense to Matt Collins. I'm sure he'll have 2 big catches in a playoff, or maybe not a playoff game because we probably don't like the playoffs, but in a big game he'll make like 2 spectacular catches, and we'll all talk about how he has no shoes coming into the game. But whatever. Josh Dobbs, backup quarterback, whatever. Um, and I love, though, I want to highlight the reason why I'm kind of dancing over it. Carlton Davis, 3 years, $20 million.
Waiting for that.
Uh, Great signing. You pair him up with Christian Gonzalez. You have an elite secondary. This is the reason why I love this so much. Is not only is it a great contract and is he a great cornerback, but he's a winning player coming from a winning team, joining a losing team with a bunch of other veterans that will start, who are coming in and they're taking the Vrabel message, whatever his message is, and I'm guessing it's we're gonna play some hard nosed defense. And uh, Carlton Davis, there's a quote from Jameer Chase that I sent in the group chat, and I was like, I am just drooling over this. Jamar Chase. Somebody asked him what's his hardest cornerback to go against, and he said Carlton Davis. So we're looking fantastic here on the cornerback market. That should just improve everything on the defense. I mean, we got to win some football games. That's what Vrabel got hired to do. He's never going to tank. He's never going to be a tank guy. There's no reason to. This
We're
gives us
past that anyway.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I think this gives us multiple options at 4. If the guys that we like, if Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter aren't there, we can definitely trade down. We have enough pieces on the defense now that we don't have to reach for a Mason Graham or just another D tackle or edge rusher because there's a bunch in the draft, so we can trade down to get more. Love this free agency class. It reminds me like I kept thinking of Belichick spending on all the like his last big splurge in free agency when we were the number 1 team spending all that money and we got like Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, and Nelson Aguilar. And it was like we got Hunter Henry who's going to start. First it was Jonnu Smith and he was supposed to start. Immediately we got Hunter Henry, so we just signed a backup tight end. Great. And then we signed Nelson Aguilar, and it's like we signed a 3rd string wide receiver to be like one of our highest paid wide receivers. But these guys are all going to start for us. We didn't waste money on a wide receiver. I do think this opens up a Cooper Kupp trade if they want to get ahead of the
Might cut him.
yeah, if they want to get ahead of the cut and not deal with other teams wanting to get him. I actually have come around to getting a veteran wide receiver like Cooper Kupp, but I think at this point it has to be Cooper Kupp. No one else is really intriguing to me. I mean T Higgins I think is out, which is sad.
Diggs.
No, don't want Diggs.
No.
No,
Cooper.
nothing. No, Cooper. No, don't want Cooper. I don't want Diggs. I don't want Cooper. I just want Kupp.
Aguilar
Because
is a free agent again.
I'll take. Oh, give me that 1 touchdown a game. I'll bet it every week. Um, but I love what the Pats did. I think they overspent, but I think that's okay because they have no players. They overspent for starters. So I think when you overspend for starters, your team's going in the right direction.
Also, if you have the money, like, where else is the money going? Like, who are your cornerstone players that you like need to extend?
It's Christian Gonzalez, Drake May. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no one else that is been
Duggar already
worthy
got an
enough.
extension, right?
Who?
Didn't Duggar get an extension?
Yeah, he got an extension last
already?
year. Yeah, he got one last year. Yeah, we locked up a lot of guys in free agency last year. That we liked. Like we got Michael Awanu for a bigger deal last year. We got Duggar. And we didn't spend on these outside defensive guys. Like we didn't get a Harold Landry. We definitely didn't get a Robert Spillane. And I think these Vrabel guys are going to come in, and it's just going to be a faster defense. Like our tackling was so poor the past couple years. They're going to be running to anyone who has the football, and it just adds a lot of. We re-signed to Alex Austin, which is a sleeper cornerback. He was a rookie out of Oregon last year, and he was undrafted, played super well when all of our corners got injured. So we re-signed him for a longer deal too. Just a lot of flexibility here, even though you spent a lot of money. So I like it. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of these.
I don't either. And like, I think I want to emphasize the point that you made about the draft is the most significant takeaway. You're not like, I wouldn't look at this as you're trying to build your team through free agents. Like you're saying, like, it's oversimplifying it obviously, but you're saying that these guys are going to start for you. Like you're filling holes that you had on your defense. And the reality was you had a lot of them. So like you're using the available cap space that you have to sign starting caliber NFL players that you can now draft whoever you want. And you have an incredibly valuable first round pick that you can either take a stud at 4, like whoever is there. And if they don't think if one of their guys is gone in the top 3, then they trade down and they get even more assets in the draft where they can just take whichever guys they love. They don't have to worry about position. So I think that's the biggest thing. My biggest takeaway as a Pats fan would be is we are now free to do whatever we want in the draft.
I I love that take, and I love that you said we're not trying to build the team through free agency. I think that is something that's people are going to say about the Pats are trying to do, but what we're really trying to do is make up for 4 years of bad drafting. And
Yeah.
the reason why we have all this money is because we've extended none of our draft picks. And if you look back at the Pats draft picks in the past 4 or 5 years, I mean, you're looking at maybe one or two good players per draft if they were lucky. There's a couple drafts that the
Yeah.
Pats got no good players, and there's no one that they've extended. They've all gone on different teams. Um, so we have all this money. We might as well get some guys that have at least been productive in the league. We know are productive. Our coach knows are productive. Um, yeah. So good. I think a really good free agency class for the Pats. They didn't get freaky. They didn't do anything like straining on their team. They didn't overspend for a washed up star. They didn't. Um, yeah. I love all the moves they made. Now I'm just kind of
Yeah.
rambling.
I will say the only hesitation I would have is the Carlton Davis deal. He has had injury problems
Yeah.
like pretty much every season.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
Looking at the guarantee, half the contract's guaranteed. So
Yeah.
that is also pretty significant. And
Mhm.
it's not like, again, a ridiculous percent of that money guaranteed. And when he's on the field, like you said, he's a fantastic quarterback. And it's when he's on the field, it's going to be one of the best secondaries in football.
That's the other thing with the free agency that you got to remember is these are just Twitter numbers. You know, like you said, half the contract's guaranteed. So he might
Right.
not
Yeah.
get upwards of the 60 million. He might end up with, even if he
Yeah.
plays,
And that's
he
the
might
point
end
I
up
was
with
trying to make earlier about Kinball.
Mhm.
It's like this money can be, they can do whatever they want with it.
All right, let's do some winners and losers just right off the bat what we're thinking because we haven't written anything down. Um, I think a winner would be the Bears. I think they traded
Yep.
we told them to do interior line, offensive line. They got two interior linemen for the trades right before free agency that we've talked about, and then they went out and signed the biggest center in the market of Drew Dahlman from the Falcons. They also signed Grady Jarrett from the Falcons. Um, so I like these two moves. I think they're building up the trenches. Jonah Jackson, I didn't even realize was from the Bears with um, their new coach, not the Bears, the Lions. Ben Johnson with Ben Johnson.
I didn't
So
realize
now
that.
he's back with him again. So he's basically, he was able to do all these trick plays in Detroit because of how well their line was. And if Caleb Williams doesn't have a good line, you can't do anything, as we saw from last year. So they're building it the right way. And they're just getting bodies in, kind of like what we were saying with the Pats and with the Commanders. They're just getting bodies in, nothing too flashy, nothing too special. Um, and I like what they're doing.
Yep. I can't find anything to be upset about if I was a Bears fan. So I nothing to add. I would stay in the division for winners though, and I think the Vikings have done a really nice job
I was
with the
going to go to
signs that
them
they've
next.
made. Look at that.
Yep.
So they bring in Jonathan Allen, former Commander. Obviously, they get him at about the same price that he was getting before. It's not outrageous, especially considering what we've seen for deep tackles. They signed Will Fries to plug that guard hole that they had, and they
And Ryan
re-signed
Kelly.
Byron Murphy and Ryan Kelly from the Colts. Yep. To reboot that interior offensive line. Love that for especially when you have I guess pretty much a rookie quarterback. It'll be his second year, but in JJ McCarthy,
Ben Simmons here.
bring back Aaron Jones, Ben Simmons. So yeah, I think good moves across the board for the Vikings. They have that ability to spend because they're not paying the quarterback. They didn't extend Darnold, obviously. So you've got like Jefferson's got a big number. I'm sure there are other big contracts on that team, but they took care of the edge rushers last year, beefed up that D line even more. So I think it was a no-brainer success free agency for the Vikings. It's just for them, it's like it all depends on how McCarthy looks, but you can't say they didn't put him in a good position.
He is the best positioned young quarterback besides besides maybe Jane Daniels in the league. Is he more? He's probably better positioned than Jane Daniels. No, he has better wide receivers.
Probably.
He has a better tight end. He's got a same running back,
I don't know.
better O
Who's their
line.
left tackle?
Their left tackle they drafted him. They have him secured. I'm pretty sure. I think they have a left tackle,
I
but
thought it
I
was
might just
Cam
be.
Robinson last year, though, and they let him walk.
Oh, you're right.
Or is he not?
Nah, I think you're right. I think you're right there. So they might not have a left tackle, but
Oh,
is he?
Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah. They drafted him a couple years ago out of Virginia, right? Or Virginia Tech, one of the two.
Virginia Tech, yeah.
Yeah. I do. So highlight two other
Oh, no,
players
he's the right
that
tackle.
you didn't end up highlighting. Isaiah Rodgers from the Eagles, another former Colt, and Javon Hargrave, former Eagle and 49er.
Oh, they signed Hargrave?
It must have just happened. There's no details on what they signed him to, but
Okay.
they got Hargrave. So they beefed up that D line even more. They, as you said, they got the edge rushers last year. Now they're getting the interior guys. They're really, I mean, everyone's pushing this Eagles mindset, and it's kind of what we predicted. Everyone's paying top tier for these D tackles and these big bodies in the middle, and then filling out the edge rushers now. Um, I love what they're doing. I mean, they're putting in JJ McCarthy in the best position that they could possibly put him in. They now are beefing up the defense even more to attack any quarterback that they go against, which they successfully did last year, and now they're going to be doing it for even more. They re-signed Byron Murphy, which I think we mentioned as one of their big needs. Um, and the only thing, I mean, Aaron Jones, they gave him like no money. $10 million is nothing this year. I just didn't think he was that good. Maybe I'm a hater, but whatever. It's okay. Um, but yeah, I love the Vikings. I think that's a great pick. We have a comment, Danny Kertner. First he says the Vikings need a vet in the QB room. They tried to keep Daniel Jones. Yeah, I think they should have some insurance in case JJ McCarthy's not ready to go or something else of the sort. They could still get Jameis. That would be an awesome Jameis team. Jameis is out there just lurking.
We would be a Jameis team.
Um,
It's too cold for Jameis now. I feel like he's a warmer weather guy.
It's indoors.
That's true.
And he has, I'm going to go with his loser, and that'll be our first loser because I agree with him. The Houston Texans. We talked about them a little bit with their offensive line moves. They got CJ Gardner Johnson. I think that's actually a pretty good move for them. Derek Barnett, I didn't really like. I don't know. There's not a lot of, I mean, Sheldon Rankins is all right. Pretty old. Um, they traded, I like the Christian Kirk trade. I thought that was great. They lost some players that I mean the Tunsil trade that we talked about, and losing another offensive guard when you're trying to improve in that position is just, even if you don't like the guy, just a bad look. It just like, I'm sure your fan base is not happy with it, and I'm guessing they go in, of course, with a plan, but it's not what you want to see when everyone was talking about their line.
And it puts you in a position where now you have to address left tackle in the draft.
Mhm.
So there's not really another option unless they have a third tackle in house who I'm not aware of, which I'm sure they do because I don't know that many O linemen. But unless that guy, they are confident that he can step in and take Tunsil's place and keep this offensive line afloat, then like you have to take a tackle in the first round. And if you don't, like you're not in great shape. So you're putting yourself in a not ideal position.
Completely agree. Um, I think they didn't do a lot, but I don't really know how well Cameron Byram is, but I like the Colts moves. Um, they got Tre'Davious Ward, good cornerback, same deal that the Pats got Carlton Davis on. So I think he's a great cornerback that will help them. They'll help their secondary a lot. We said they needed some secondary help. I think that adds to them. They're still a young team that clearly wants to use their draft picks. And they signed Daniel Jones, so they did technically get some quarterback insurance. It's a battle of cheeks, two cheeks of the same ass over on the Colts, and that'll be fun. Him and Anthony Richardson will be a story, and
Yes.
we'll. What do you say?
That it'll be a story. That's
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, it'll be a story. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But I do like the Tre'Davious Ward signing. I'd like to see how well Cameron Byram has played the past couple of years. But I mean, oh yeah, he's not bad. It is a lot of money, but safety help is always important. They needed that for the secondary help. All right, what else?
Safety market is really weird. I just want to throw that out there.
It is
Like,
strange.
I can never predict how much safeties are going to get paid, and
Yeah,
no
like I
one's gotten paid more than like 15 million a year, other than I think Hufanga might have gotten like a little bit more than that.
from what I've seen, it's
But
exactly
that's
15.
what
But
Javon
like,
Holland got. Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
which that's
it's
a great
odd.
signing too. Wow, that we mention him. Uh,
Holland,
yeah, I think Holland's good, right?
the Giants,
Yeah,
yes. I just like I'm nothing that the Giants do can make me excited if like Tommy DeVito is the quarterback right now.
signing Darius Slayton to the same deal that they could have got Saquon on is very funny, especially since they've wanted Darius Slayton off the team for the past, I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah, I do like Darius Slayton.
He's
Like,
a
I
good
think that's a
player.
good move. Yeah,
It's just funny. It's
yes,
just funny.
but they
But they
refused to give to Saquon.
they did. I mean, they boasted up their secondary. I think. I mean, they already have good D tackles. Their defense is going to be good. They don't have a quarterback though, and
Yeah,
their options are
no,
are looking thin.
and they actually don't have like an atrocious line.
No,
They have like you bring back Neighbors and Slayton, so it's not the worst team in the world.
no, it's
But
it.
yeah, they need it.
They
They
need
need
a
a quarterback.
quarterback though. All right. What other egregious? Like there wasn't too many egregious losers. I didn't think because honestly, just because the cap's going up, everyone's spending
Yeah,
whatever.
the well, there's two that have not spent anything, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. Who, I mean, the big issue with the Bengals is they should have done all of these deals months ago because now that the market is being reset at pretty much every position, like they're pricing themselves out of re-signing these guys. Like Jamar Chase's number goes up every
Every
day.
day. Yeah, every day.
T. Higgins' number goes up every day. It seems like Hendrickson they're already done with. So it's completely on them for not just getting it. Like if they would have just paid him whatever he wanted at the start of last year, it
Scott
would be
Allwood was
cheaper
done.
than what they're gonna have to pay him for. They're so stupid. Like, how could you not know? It makes me mad because like I feel bad for them, like for the fans, because you have a generational quarterback in Joe Burrow, and just like gross incompetence is preventing them from fielding a competitive roster. So it makes me mad. And then the other one is the Cowboys,
Yeah.
who restructured Dak to save cap space to sign Javante Williams to a 1 year, $3 million deal. Like I don't know, I don't know what they're doing.
They re-signed their
And
D
I'm not saying like,
tackle to 20 million a year.
yeah,
God, it's a weird off season for them. And
Parsons is the like they have to get Parsons done. It's the same situation. Like if you did Parsons 2 months ago,
he's
you're paying him
cheaper than
less
the
than
two.
what
Yeah,
Max Crosby just got.
yeah. And then
Now
Garrett.
he's going to get Garrett money.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
just
dumb.
yeah. Like
As you said, gross
can
incompetence.
we watch what's happening? And you would think that the Cowboys would have learned because of what happened with Dak. The same freaking thing. You'd think that they would have learned,
They don't learn
but no.
though.
So here we go again, and it's going to be Parsons, CD, Dak, and Osa, and they're going to have 4 players. And I don't. They'll just have to figure out the rest somehow. Better draft well.
Javante Williams. Yeah, they better draft well.
Yeah.
The
So I don't know.
Okay, just a couple quick signings that I like. We don't have to go deep into the Cardinals, but I like the Josh Sweat signing. They
Mhm.
re-signed Baron Browning to a cheap contract, so they traded for him. They didn't lose the asset like that. Everything else he did, kind of around the fringes, but all pretty
Sweat
good.
nugget about that is he's going to play for Jonathan Gannon again,
Yeah.
which I think he had his best season in terms of numbers for Gannon.
Oh, nice.
Could be making
Nice.
that up, but I'm pretty sure I saw that.
I like The Bills getting Josh Palmer. I think that's a good signing, underrated signing.
How many number like 3 receivers do they?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the other thing that I'm thinking about. Like
I'm not
they
saying they shouldn't have
extended
done it because
Shakir.
like they traded for Cooper and now he's gone, but it is funny that they just don't have like
They don't have that
I
guy.
mean, they didn't
Yeah.
need it.
I hope
Yeah,
it
they
doesn't.
don't
I
have that
hope
guy. And when
it
they did
works
have that
out for
guy,
them
they had
because
to trade him. So
yeah, I hope it works out just because of that. Just so like this the Stephon
yeah,
Diggs stuff comes into
proof.
fruition.
Yeah,
Um, I like what the Panthers did. Gave a lot of money to J.C. Horn. I think that's just something you have to do.
that was
It's a lot of money.
disgustingly large
A
contract.
lot of money.
I saw that and I was like, crap! Like that resets
Oh yeah.
the whole cornerback market.
Yep. And for a guy that I saw get burnt by the Saints one too many times last year. Um, but I like I like J.C. Horn. He's still young. He's gonna come
You
into his
gotta
own.
lock up your young guys too.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
you can't for
You got to keep your
the
good
rant that I
players.
just went on. I'm not gonna criticize the Panthers for extending it.
Agreed.
It was just a
They
big number, and you're not bidding against anybody else.
they got the safety Trayvon Morgan. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Morgan?
Merrick, I
Morgan?
think. I had to look it up because he was my Raiders guy.
Yeah. Which
They
Raiders
actually
stole. They stole
but
Chin from you.
Chin, yeah.
Yeah, I like that signing too.
I don't think they stole him. I think if the like Commanders had $8 million a year to pay Chin, and they decided not to.
Fair enough. But I like those two deals. The D tackle they grossly overpaid for. That's what everyone was doing though. I don't think that's too much of a hassle.
Yeah.
I really have never heard of this guy though. It's like a Chiefs backup.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
There's no Javon Kinlaw on yet.
No. He's but he'll start though. Like he's one of those players
He
who's
might
fill up a
be.
gap. He'll fill up a gap and play for the Panthers. All right, what else? What else do we have?
I'm jumping around here.
Oh yeah, we're jumping around. I didn't like the Packers.
You
I'm
want to
not
stick
gonna
in that
lie.
division?
I'm just not a big fan of Nate
Okay.
Hobbs. Sorry, I'm really just jumping around. Yeah, I'm just looking at anything. I just thought Nate Hobbs is just not worth 4 years, 48 million. But that's, I mean, again, it's not that much money. He'll probably play as a starting cornerback for them. So it's really not
what's the guarantee? If the guarantee
that's
is
the
not
other
high,
thing.
then it's basically nothing.
Agreed. So it's not egregious, but
I feel
just
like we
don't think
always
he's that
get
great.
we all get tricked by this every year when we look at these totals. Yeah, and they haven't done nothing to edge, right?
No,
That's like a pretty big need for them.
no.
Nothing at receiver yet. There's still time. That's the other thing. Like these teams are not set before the draft yet.
Oh yeah,
The
big
deals
time.
haven't even been signed yet.
Who?
The deals haven't even been signed yet.
Oh yeah, no. It's not official.
They can't
till
officially
tomorrow.
sign until tomorrow.
Yeah. I do like, since we're moving around, just bouncing around. I do like what the Jaguars did. I think they gave out a lot of money, but filled in a lot of holes. Got a lot of starters.
They signed like 6 tight ends.
They did sign. Yeah, they signed. That was weird. The Johnny. Those
weird.
those were weird. But I thought I like Jordan Lewis. I think he's a good cornerback, a good nickel cornerback.
Yeah, another Cowboy. I don't know why they let him walk. Been there for like 8 years.
God forbid they re-sign their players. All right, what else? What else we got? We're kind of bouncing around. Any comments? Wharton is a monster. Oh, from the Chiefs. Yeah. Okay, Chiefs fan saying he's all right. Cool. So I guess he's earned that deal for the Panthers.
You were talking about Justin Fields?
Yeah, that's a great.
It's in your division.
Yeah, let's do it. No.
I saw something today that there's like 9 or 10 Jets that are younger than 28. So that might be scary. That's basically what the tweet said.
They grossly overpaid for Brandon Stevens. They grossly overpaid for Justin Fields. I
don't think Fields was a gross
Sherwood.
overpay.
I mean, he went 4-2 last year, so you have a good point there. He won football games for the Steelers. He's
To be like an
Wilson.
NFL starting quarterback, $20 million a year is like reasonable, I'd say.
That's fair. It's a good point.
Great one.
But like, yeah, that's the thing. How long is he going to be here? Like, is he just going to be this bridge quarterback that stays for 2 years and leaves, or is he gonna I don't think he's gonna find a home here. I have no offense to the Jets. You're the Jets still, pal.
This isn't a place where quarterbacks' careers are revived.
Yeah, this is
It's
the
actually the
Sam
complete
Darnold has to
opposite.
leave the Jets to get revived. Zach Wilson, if he ever becomes good
Maybe
again, has
maybe
to
he's getting out in
leave
front of it. Maybe he's like, I need to do my time on the Jets so
so
that
then he can get out and go to the
when I go to the
Vikings.
Rams in 3 years.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I think the best selling point is that you're pairing him up with Garrett Wilson. You do have a young offense.
Right.
You have
The Ohio State guys too.
yeah, they play together, right?
I don't know. I think so. How long has Fields been around for?
Okay. Yeah. He played with Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
So they have a connection. That should make him happy for a year, right? Before he demands a bunch of money and then a trade. Um, I mean, I guess this
4
does
weeks.
it's the opposite of what we said, which was just to blow it up. Which I guess looking back, you have a bunch of young pieces. Maybe you don't want to blow it up completely. You have a new coach, you have a new GM. Um, but it seems like you have a new coach, you have a new GM, and then you're just kind of running it back. And now you're just placing Justin Fields instead of Aaron Rodgers. And I guess he moves around a lot better than Aaron
It's
Rodgers did.
yeah.
There's selling points to it, but it's at the end of the day, it's Justin Fields.
They need an offensive line.
Yeah.
I saw I don't know who said it, but it was basically saying that the Jets were trying to replicate the Eagles and Ravens model of having a mobile quarterback with like a great running back, except they don't have an offensive line like the Eagles and the Ravens do. I was like, the other issue is that the mobile quarterback is Justin Fields,
Yeah, and the
and
running
it's
back is
not
Brees Hall.
Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson. So, I guess good luck to them. But yeah, I don't hate it though, because you're not
No. No, what else are you
you're not
supposed to
trying to
do?
make a big splash. Yeah, right.
Man, you're just supposed to it's I guess
So
you're just accepting the tank. I don't know. That would be the other option. But you're right. This gets you in the conversation, it gets you but it's without taking a massive swing.
yeah. So I don't hate it.
I mean,
It's gonna be
Saquon
weird seeing
Barkley
him in a
got
Jet
extend.
uniform
I mean, I've made this is just kind of a rant on NFL contracts, I guess, because Saquon Barkley, new highest paid running back ever, 2 years, $41 million. Justin Fields get 2 years, $40 million,
though. Yeah,
and he's not even a good quarterback. He's
it
average at
is. I
best.
mean, Dan Moore is getting paid more than Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
He's given up like the most sacks in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's a weird market out there. It's strange. Do we while we're talking about quarterbacks, let's talk about Darnold going to the Seattle Seahawks. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up the spreadsheet that we had in the offseason. And I just think it's hilarious because I had the Raiders saying don't sign Sam Darnold to a multi-year. And then I had the Seahawks saying convince the Raiders to take Geno. But what they weren't supposed to do is then use that money to sign Sam Darnold because now it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, people are saying he's 8 years younger. You get him for a projected less money because the extension for Geno Smith has not happened yet. So projected less money than what Geno Smith wanted. Um,
He knows better than Sam Darnold.
he is better than Sam Darnold, and they still don't have an offensive line. They don't have an O line. That's why
And
Geno
they just
that's
traded
why
away their
Geno was
best.
a problem. And they just threw away their best wide receiver. JSN's very good, but he's not up to DK's level yet. So now you have one wide receiver. You know who their second wide receiver is? Jake Bobo. Um, so that's what they're rocking with here with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's going from Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to just JSN and no good tight
Yeah.
end. They have a good running back. They don't have a good O line.
It's like always hurt though.
And what are you doing here? This is one of those teams where it's like, yeah, you spend 20 million on Justin Fields, fine, but at least you had a bunch of young players on your team. You had you have some excuse for it. But this is why? So you can beat the Seahawks again? Why are you doing this?
That's a feeling.
Do they
That's
want to
the
win?
feeling.
They want to win 8 games? That's
They might get to 9.
congrats. You can win you can go to the wild card. You could be the fraudulent 7th seed. I don't understand what the point of this is, and I guess, like, the counteraction is, like, what's the other option? The other option is to suck. That's the other option, and the other option
Yeah.
is to build your team, uh, through other players and not pretending that this Band-Aid of a quarterback is gonna fix all your problems. At least if Sam Darnold goes to the Raiders, you convince yourself Tom Brady has a plan, and, like, this guy is this is Mike Macdonald we're talking about. They did they
Well,
just ignore the past 2 weeks of the season? I mean, it's like they watched the first, 16? Because there's 18 now, 16 weeks, and they're like, "Oh, this Sam Darnold guy's amazing." And then they just turned off the TV in week 17 and 18 and then the first round. Like, well, all I imagine is Sam Darnold throwing the football away as a fumble when the Rams are sacking him in that playoff game, and I don't even think it counted as a fumble, but he just got torn apart, and that's gonna happen every play in Seattle. Clearly it boils my blood.
well, the other thing, like you mentioned, the Raiders. At least if you're the Raiders, you think Tom Brady's has a plan. At least if you're the Raiders, you were going from Minshew and O'Connell to now, like
Yeah,
you
you're going
can't
from
go down
ass
from
to
there. Like,
mid. Now they're
right.
going laterally to
Yeah,
and
you
it's
can't go mid to mid.
and I don't like the lateral movement to then to the argument of the lateral movement being that he's younger and 5 million less cheaper, maybe 2 million less cheaper. The fact that he's younger means you're gonna extend him. Or he's gonna suck and he's just gonna eat up that contract. So like it just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I don't get it. I don't. I honestly thought they were just gonna ride it out with Howell this year
And I think that would
for a
probably have
minute.
been a better plan. Let Howell already got killed behind the Commanders' O-line. Just let him get killed again for 40 sacks. Like, poor guy.
Sacrificial
Like, yeah,
lamb.
exactly. And like now they're out of the Arch Manning conversations. They're out of anything really relevant next year, and their ceiling is 9 wins. And maybe I'm wrong.
I don't
I
even
would
know.
love
Yeah,
like if this
I don't
Sam
know.
Darnold resurgence is a real thing. That and the other thing, Kevin O'Connor is just letting him go. If the Vikings thought they could win a Super Bowl with him, don't you think they'd re-sign him? They were this close, or not this close, but everyone thought they were this close, and everyone thinks Sam Darnold can win a Super Bowl, but the team is just letting him walk. And like, I know they just drafted a quarterback at 9, and you could say, well, they have to let him walk because they drafted a quarterback at 9. If he was that good,
Oh, they
you
could
don't
trade JJ
care.
McCarthy.
Yeah, if he was that good, you don't care, and you just keep the quarterback as a backup, or you trade him. It just
Yep.
doesn't. To convince yourself that this makes any sense, um, is blasphemy. And I think it's funny because a lot of these offseason takes, it's a wait and see. We kind of like the fit. Maybe they got a plan. But I'm definitive on this one that this is a bad move. And
We've seen it before.
exactly, yeah. Yep. I agree. And like people
You
saying this,
like
like he's
signing a
not Baker
mediocre
Mayfield.
quarterback to a huge deal is never the right thing to do.
And
Ever.
people were comparing this. They call it like they said, oh, Sam Darnold got the Baker contract. Baker Mayfield won a playoff game on the Browns. On the Browns. He won a playoff game on the Browns and then was electric on the Tampa Bay
And then did it
Buccaneers.
again. Yeah.
Yes. Uh man. And then he earned the contract. And like I guess, you have I don't know how many touchdowns he had. He had a great touchdown interception ratio. Um yada yada yada, but this guy just I couldn't put my faith behind him any less.
No, it's totally outrageous. You're basically signing up for 3 years of best case scenario. You're competitive every year, and that's your ceiling. Is we're a solid football team. Like we're not going to suck. You're going to be picking between 15 and 20 in the draft. No
And
higher.
you know
Probably
what
lower.
sucks too is that the Raiders are gonna build a culture. They're gonna have Geno Smith. They're probably not gonna extend him because they're pretty smart and he's 35. Probably redo his money so he gets a little more money. And they have Brock Bowers. They have Jacoby Myers. They're gonna draft well, and then they're gonna place a quarterback after him. Like, what's the plan after Sam Darnold? Just to be in the same
Same
position
thing,
you
I
are
guess.
right now? What are you gonna trade JSN to the Steelers and then trade Sam Darnold. Like, what's going on here?
Who's the next guy? Fields.
I thought Fields was gonna.
Fields. Or
I thought
Daniel
Fields could
Jones.
have come this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
He
hated
could.
that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have hated that
I wouldn't
either.
have even hated Daniel Jones.
No, because you would have spent two. You would have given him a 2-year contract or a 1-year contract. Ah, man. Okay. Now that we have that rant done, I mean, just like if a player's leaving the Vikings, I need to know why. It's a smart coach. They won their most games ever, I think, in a franchise, something like that, or ever in like the past couple years, or something crazy
Yeah.
like that. And
Probably since the 70s.
then they let him go. So like clearly they don't value him.
With no resistance.
Yes. No franchise tag, no try to trade, not even trying to get
Nope.
a freaking pick for him. Just gonna let him walk.
Awesome.
That way. Well, that's the Seahawks problem, I guess. Luckily not either of our teams. But it's a shame because like it seemed like the Seahawks could have been fun. They could have done something fun where, we're seeing Sam Howell run around every week, just tossing up the JSN. I don't know. What else we got? The Titans, you did mention.
Hey,
Um,
okay.
oh, okay. No, go ahead. I
I
was
was
just
to
gonna
say,
say
stay in the
something.
division. We can knock out the Niners,
Yeah, let's do the Niners.
who have gotten purged of. I think I was trying to count them earlier because we were talking about it at work, and it was like literally 10 starters that are now gone from this team from last year, not from like the last couple of years. Like from last year, they lost 10 starters.
And their only
Uh,
outside move, I guess Richie Grant, but is Luke Farrell for 3 years, 20 million?
tight end. I thought he signed with the
Yes.
Jags.
No, he was from the Jags. Signed with the 49ers. I don't know why he got that money.
Oh, okay.
It seems like I heard someone say it was like a use check replacement. They're going to use him at fullback, but then they let use check
Yeah.
go. Um, they're not getting any better at wide receiver. I don't think they trade Ayuk. I don't think anyone trades for him. I don't think he leaves.
Yeah.
I don't see the purpose of why they would make him leave. Um, I would use this in my negotiations with Brock Purdy's agent. I would sit here and I go, these are the starters we're losing.
Look at this.
Yeah. And if you sign, I'll be like, and if you sign this contract where we won't be able to sign these guys, we'll lose all these guys. And that's how I would line it up if I was the GM of the Niners. They are losing a lot of players, and they'll find some guys will want to play for them though. They'll get some veterans. They'll fill in the gaps. It'll be interesting to see what they do. You want to talk about Kenny Pickett, I guess, for a second? The Browns taking Kenny.
Why not? If and
Honestly, I don't.
DTR for Kenny Pickett's deep
I think it's.
price.
I think this is a great move. What an upgrade.
The Browns.
DTR sucks. They don't need
He
it
does
now.
suck.
Now they don't need to take a quarterback at 2. They literally could just ride it out with Kenny Pickett. And I know people are gonna be like Kenny Pickett's cheeks, but who cares? Like it's honestly better just to stink with Kenny Pickett and you like Abdul Carter's like good at the end of the season after his leg injury comes back and he's like, oh, at least we have,
Yeah.
now 2 great edge rushers. We re-signed Myles Garrett. We figure out the quarterback eventually after his Watson money gets out of here. And then you go for Arch. I don't know. But I don't hate this Kenny Pickett thing. And I honestly, what if he plays well? First round pick.
I will say did you see there was a tweet that was like, if anyone has the phrase former first round pick attached to them, that means they're like a generational bum or something like that. Which is so true. Because you don't need to say former first round pick. That means that no one's heard of him, but he was drafted in the first round. I lost my train of thought there. I like it better than like a Darnold or even a Fields, I think.
Well, I think it's better than you already did it with Jameis. You already did it with DTR. Yeah, you had Bailey Zappi in there. I don't know. This guy is not going to be the worst player. Like he's not going to be the worst.
Horrible.
Yeah. No, exactly. He's not worse than those guys that I just mentioned, and that's who they had at quarterback.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
kind
it's
of
an
feel
upgrade.
bad for Pickett. Like this is his third team already.
I saw a great tweet. It was from a Browns fan. It was like it was from 20 whatever, 21, and
Yes.
he was like, at least my team isn't dumb enough to draft Kenny Pickett. And then he retweeted it yesterday, and it's like, my team's dumb enough to trade for him.
I don't know. Like, what did you want as a Browns fan though? Like, this doesn't change the planet.
Nope.
Like, you could still draft a quarterback
Yeah.
if that's what you wanted to do,
Yep.
or you could do Admiral Carter.
Yeah. It just gives you
So
more options at 2, I think.
yeah, yeah. I don't. You've talked me into it. I don't hate it.
The
Pittsburgh doesn't have a quarterback.
Pittsburgh does not
I
have a
think it's
quarterback.
it's either Russ or Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Yeah, it's like what's like the opposite of a bidding war? It's just like all right, who's coming down the aisle? Like who are we taking here? Um, the but it's funny though. Those two guys with now DK Metcalf and now George Pickens, you could talk yourself
Yeah.
very quickly
No, and we will in week 9 when
when
they're
they're
8 and 1.
7-2. Yeah, 8-1.
Yeah,
They
I'll beat the Ravens at home on like 6 field goals like they did this year. Just be like, I don't know, the defense is good enough.
they
Like
got
they have the
Darius
weapons this
Slay.
year.
They kept DJ Watt. They I
Uh,
the It's funny. I kind of think they're like I hated the DK Metcalf at first, but now I kind of love it. I think they're in a great position. Like, what if you get Joe Milton? He just chucks it. Just get anyone. Just you run 2 go routes and then a
you know how it
drag.
works though. Like they're not Texas Tech. You're not playing against freaking
Mm.
Kansas and Oklahoma State.
But I think why I love it too is the Steelers are never fun. Steelers have never
That's
done
fair.
anything
Yeah.
fun. Um this is the friend that is drinking on a night that he never goes out drinking. This is the Steelers, they had 3 shots
You're
at the
coming out
ball
tonight?
already. Yeah, they had 3 shots already. Like, let's,
You're staying out? You're not going out?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, that's the Steelers, and I think, honestly, with all this, if you're not gonna, fire the coach, which we said, if you're gonna make a big move, you might as well do it. And now that you're screwed with quarterback, but honestly, I think
Who do you
it's
want? Who would you want if you're a Steelers fan?
I think if
Would you
you're a
rather have
Steelers fan,
Rodgers
I
or,
think you'd
or
rather have
Russie?
Rodgers. No, you saw Russie. Like, you saw Russie have a fussy, and now I think you wanna have, I think you wanna have
That the
Rodgers.
video of him and Cam Hayward is enough to make me be like,
Yeah,
never. Like, get this man as far away as possible.
yeah, and like, that's the other thing, it's like, at least Rodgers is like you wanna think he's doing it because his ego thinks he can win. Like, Russ is just
Mhm.
like he just, like, is like a celebrity, or he thinks he's a celebrity. And I guess Rodgers does too, but, at least there's more of a winning mindset, I
Rodgers
think,
at
with
least is like
Rodgers.
openly a dick, whereas Russ is
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like the cringiest
let's say
guy
it
in the
how it
world,
is.
and I'd much rather have the former.
I agree. I completely agree. I think Rodgers is the way to go here, and I think they're fun with him. They might be
They
the
look
same
good in
team that
black
they
and
always
gold.
have.
So
Yeah, it's better than what the Jets uniform it looks like on him.
no one
Um,
looks good in the Jets uniforms. They need to go back to the Mark Sanchez uniforms. That's
those are good unis.
totally a tangent, but I don't know. Like they're hideous.
I just want to know real quick, and we need a cap guy. We need to find someone that works for the Saints. I'm gonna like scour LinkedIn and see if some intern will hop on and just be like, "What is
Not
going
with
on?"
us.
Yeah, just be like, "What is going on?" Because they signed Justin Reed, which is a top tier safety in this free agency class. They signed Chase Young to a massive deal, and they get Jawan Johnson, who has always been a productive tight end for them. Like, could have gone to. He would have been great on the Pats. He would have been great on the Commanders. He's a solid number 2
We
tight
have
end.
Benson in it.
Yeah, I do love Benson. But they gave 10 million a year to each of those guys, and then Chase Young they gave him like 13. I don't know, quick maths, 15, I don't know, something
More
like
than
that.
that, I think.
Yeah,
I
and
think it was like 17.
it's just baffling to me.
I don't know.
And they didn't
Your
trade
your
Carr.
move was to stop the restructure game, and they
Oh,
didn't do that at all. They
they
just
didn't
doubled
listen.
down. They
No, they didn't
the
listen.
restructure was like 4 new contracts.
Yep.
I think they're just gonna keep doing it until like I was reading a little bit about a Twitter exchange between the guy who runs Spot Rack, like the cap site. He was saying how like the Saints are having to eat the bill on the Derek Carr contract now, and how they have to like restructure him even though they don't want him. And somebody in the comments was like, "Well, they just keep doing this while the cap goes up. Like more money opens up every year, so they never actually have to foot the bill." It's like that's kind of a good point.
There
The problem
needs
is the guys that they keep having to restructure are old or not good.
there needs to be I think the commissioner needs to come in. There needs to be there needs to be some sense into this.
I think it's perfect because it separates the dumb teams from the smart teams.
That's true. That's true. They could just keep doing. Yeah, if you want to sign Chase
Like
Young
all you
to
have to
3 more
do is just
years,
hire like the top accountants at Deloitte, and like you should be able to figure this out.
that's true.
I would think.
That's a good point. The that is a good point. But they keep doing it, man. They keep finding ways. Um, and I don't know how I don't think they'll be any good, but they'll keep finding ways.
They might
Um,
be. They might go on a run.
like a little
Like they might be
2 game
four
run.
and one.
Yeah, a little
And
2 game,
yeah,
3 game run.
and have
Um,
Derek Carr like he's the savior again. Remember that?
oh yeah, I remember. I remember. I got a hot take.
Okay.
Right. I've been saving it. What if Zach Wilson
What?
just like beats out Tua in the in the competition?
You're high on Zach Wilson.
We're gonna see Zach Wilson. We're gonna see him. I give me former Jet
He
quarterbacks.
could be a Seahawk.
Yes, yes, he would have been a
He could really
perfect
be a
Seahawk.
Seahawk.
He would have been a perfect Seahawk. Give me former Jets quarterbacks, but not to massive deals. Let's see what they could do. Um,
Maybe
6
1 year,
million,
10 million.
6 million. You know Tua's gonna be hurt. We're gonna see Zach Wilson at some point, and maybe he balls out. They did get. I will say I sniped
That's
James
it is one
Daniels.
where it's like if there's any situation that you would want to be in, just throw it
Oh,
up
you
his
want to
sleeve.
be? Oh yeah. He's better than Skylar Thompson. He's better than any other back. Tyler
Yes.
Huntley, yeah, Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley. Got to give him some respect. Um, but I did snipe out James Daniels when I was talking about O linemen that they could have signed here.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm taking my dubs there. So I like that help out in the interior line. They didn't spend a lot of money. They don't have a lot of money to spend. So I like Melifonwu too, the safety from the Lions. I just think decent contracts. Nothing too fancy here.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, Alex Kappa went to the Raiders. I didn't even realize that. Good for the Raiders. That's a good signing for them. And so do you not like Jeremy Chin? He not good?
No, I like Chen. I was kind of surprised when I saw his deal. I thought they would
Oh,
bring him
okay.
back for more than that, and they let him go for less.
Interesting. Interesting. I wonder you guys might have a safety. Maybe it's Emin Warrior. That would be cool.
Maybe.
That would be cool.
I'd rather an edge rusher, but I trust them.
All right. Okay, what else do we have? Anything big? The Lions got DJ Reed. You sniped that one out. That
Yes,
was a
I
good
got
one.
that one.
Um, I think that was a good signing. They got him for cheaper than Carlton Davis.
Yep.
And it was funny. It might be a Cowherd fantasy, but I was just listening to Cowherd on this day because Twitter was down most of the day. And he was like, DJ Reed, he was never going to be the number one corner with Sauce Gardner. Now he gets to be on the Lions where he's the number one corner and he gets the attention and the spotlight. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, honestly, I got a good point. Like, it's honestly not a bad like motivation to go to the Lions. And I think it's a good sign. Like I think Derek Barnes is a good linebacker for the Lions as well. I think it's a good sign that they're still getting players because I don't think it's funny now that we're gone away from the initial signing of the both coordinators. I wonder how much it's really going to affect Dan Campbell and the Lions. They have smart people in the building. Dan Campbell's not an idiot. They have a good infrastructure. Um,
I
so I
think
think
so.
I think the DJ
You
Reed
just never
sign is
know.
a good sign for the defense though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that like their defense is very good.
Mhm. Yeah, and
went
they
off.
lost a corner, so getting one back is a good sign.
Yeah.
Ravens quiet. They re-signed Ronnie Stanley, which no one. Okay, this is another thing I got to rant about. Everyone was like, "Oh, Ronnie Stanley's going here. Ronnie Stanley's going there." Ronnie Stanley was never leaving the Ravens. Which you sniped out, by the way. They also re-signed Pat Ricard, which no one knows the money yet, but
Love it.
sure, they got their fullback back. Um, nothing else that's reaching my mind here that we missed out
There was
on.
something I read about the Ravens earlier about how they like
Oh
to
wait, they got
wait for
Hopkins.
guys that
I
are.
forgot that they broke
They
into
did get
Smart.
Hopkins.
Yeah, my bad.
That's a snoozer.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think. No, you're good. That they like to wait for guys to get released before signing them. It's something with like the comp picks. Because if you don't, I guess if you don't replace who you lose in free agency, you get picks for it. And it doesn't count if you sign someone who got released.
Yeah, if you sign
Something
the same
along those
position,
lines.
yeah, it cuts off of that. So sorry, I was reading some comments. I honestly I zoned out for 1 second. Re-say what you were saying again about the comp picks.
It was something along the lines of how when you sign someone who's been released, it doesn't affect the comp pick that you would get for losing a free agent.
Yeah, if they were released like the post June 1st, those cuttings,
Yeah.
those don't count
But
towards
they
the
can
comp
be
picks.
released and just like carry that designation, which doesn't make I hear that all the time where it's like he carries a post June 1st designation. Like, what does that mean if he wasn't released after June 1st?
Yeah, it just means it's like they're officially transactioning him off the books then. So the new league year money works out well. And I know what you're saying. So are you saying the Ravens aren't getting these free agents that are free agents because they want to keep their comp picks?
Yes, they want the guys to get cut.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
Which
they
makes sense.
love
Like when you
comp
already have a
picks.
roster in good shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Eagles are going to get like 4 comp picks next year.
Yep. They're gonna get a ton.
Yeah, that's what the Cowboys are doing too. They got a
Maybe.
bunch this year. They'll probably get a bunch again next year.
The Ravens, I mean, they're gonna get a comp pick. That's why they did this Deontay Johnson restricted free agent at the end of the year, right before the Bills
Yeah.
thing, because they're gonna get a comp pick for him if he signs anywhere else, which he probably won't. But they would get a comp pick if that.
They
I
already
think
have
that's a
4
smart
this
move.
year.
And one of those guys is still Joey Bosa, which I think would be a massive move for the Ravens. We have a comment, Shane Lord saying the fat Tua on the yacht. Did you see that? Chubby Tua?
I saw the tweet. I didn't see the picture because it wasn't loading for me.
It doesn't look that. I mean, he looked like Mac Jones after the national championship. That
It's fine. He's a quarterback. He doesn't need to be
yeah,
in shape.
that's what I was thinking.
Not a mobile quarterback.
And speaking of Shane, he had a couple things about the Eagles that I'll shout him out with. He said he thinks this C.J. Gardner Johnson makes sense. We save a lot of cap over the next 2 years, which might not seem good now, but you pay guys like Jalen Carter, who are going to demand a top 5 contract, which makes perfect sense. And then Reed Blankenship too.
That's what Jalen Carter's gonna get.
He's going to get a massive contract.
Blankenship they got rid of?
No. He was saying that's another guy that they're going to need to worry about an extension for.
Gotcha.
Later on.
They're another one that's is just going to be swimming in comp picks next year after all the guys that they lost.
Yeah, and they still have the opportunity to sign Beckham back. They did trade for that other guard from
But they just
Green. Yeah, they got Green. So they probably let him go. And they get another comp pick for that, if so.
For Sweat and Williams, those are going to be like 3rd and 4th rounders, I think.
Williams is definitely going to be a 3rd rounder because of how much money the Pats gave him, and then Sweat probably a 4th. So good. I mean, it's another thing that you said separates the smart teams from the bad teams. Those smart teams always have those comp picks. Like the Ravens have been swimming in comp picks.
Ravens have never
every
had a
year.
comp pick. Ever.
And they've never had a smart front office until now. So there you go.
No. I don't think they'll get one this year either. But I guess you have so many needs. Can't be worried about picks.
No, I think that was funny. Like I'm thinking
you have to be good enough to let guys walk out the door to get the picks. That's the catch.
Yeah, and if you have a bunch of holes, you mean the comp picks aren't filling them as much as
Right? Yeah, you can't afford that.
Yeah. All right, I think we hit the gist of everything. I mean, the Chiefs re-signed guys. They overpaid for a tackle. They actually got to re-sign a bunch of their guys. Hollywood Brown, I think, will be good for them next year. I like the Elijah Mitchell if he stays healthy.
Hmm.
Anything else? I mean, we didn't talk about the Broncos. They didn't really do much. They got the safety. They got Greenlaw
They
too.
got
They got Greenlaw too. I
Greenlaw.
forgot
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that defense is going to
I thought it
be.
was interesting that they focus so much on defense.
Yeah, build on the strength, I guess.
But yeah,
It's funny.
I
There's
guess
not
like you can't. It's hard to rely on defense. Is that like come out of nowhere to be consistent year in year out? So I guess I get it.
I think the other thing is too, the offense was so the free agent offense was so bad. Like there just wasn't
Yeah, that
that
wasn't great.
special player. And
Yeah,
I
unless
just
you
think
wanted a guard.
the two 49ers that they got, I think is a massive upgrade.
Yeah.
I didn't know they got Greenlaw too. That's a great signing.
Yep.
All right, I think that covers everything. If we missed your team, we apologize. A lot of stuff to cover. A lot of different contracts. We'll have to do another update,
There's
probably next
more.
episode.
We're not done.
Yeah, we're definitely not done. Mock draft season coming soon though. Now that all the free agents are in, it's better to see who's gonna go where in the draft. So that'll be fun. Look forward to that. Selection Sunday. I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm pumped. So Wise Guys, look for the link for the Wise Guys Bracket Challenge. Sunday night. It's gonna be posted everywhere.
T-shirt contest.
What? The t-shirt contest, yeah.
T-shirt
The
contest.
t-shirt contest. And I'm pumped for it. I'm already betting terribly on I'm actually up on conference championships already. So we're looking good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
On who?
Nebraska. The Nebraska team, the trash can team.
Omaha?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
We won on them. Who else did we win on? Give me 1 second.
Drake?
This is gonna be... No,
Just
not
trying to figure
Drake.
teams out. Delaware. Have you guys been betting Delaware? They're on heater right now.
Jack freaking had Delaware the first 2 rounds, didn't tell me about it, but then we got him at plus 1,000 before the Towson game yesterday because we also had Towson at plus 700. Yeah. So we have him at plus basically 1,000 money line tomorrow. Which is pretty crazy.
Crazy run.
Yeah. We got Troy. Troy won the Sun Belt.
Oh, the Sun Belt is such a shame. That bracket is like, if you haven't seen the Sun Belt tournament bracket, look it up. It's like, basically you get a bye. Whatever seed you are is like reverse how many buys you get. So like the 1 seed has like 8 buys.
It's spectacular.
It's a very funny.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
It's spectacular.
But so that'll come out on Sunday. Look for it on Monday everywhere. We'll see everyone later this week for more NFL stuff, maybe some NBA stuff. We'll figure